From Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, this is a Weather Watch Alert.
And we are continuing to keep an eye on significant rain, especially in the western parts of the state. Good to have you along at 1 o'clock. I'm Matt Scott. This unrelenting rain is just really keeping western Connecticut underwater. A couple of areas seeing already a significant amount of rain. Flooding is the concern, not even looking for, certainly nothing to hail or tornadoes, and really winds are not a factor either. But what is? It's just a heavy rain. Some of these embedded bands moving in, a lot of tropical moisture going at about an inch an hour. Now, that leads, as you accumulate all this, to an increased flood risk. Flood advisories already up for the Housatonic River. Also, flood warnings for parts of the state, too. It tapers off tomorrow morning. Really won't be till tomorrow afternoon before we see things get a little better. A lot of colors on the map right now. Flood watches in effect for New Haven, Hartford, Fairfield counties, and then we've got flood advisories as well. The concern is where you see it in red. That's a flood warning. It's going for another couple of hours throughout the afternoon. If you're in Danbury along 84 to Newtown, up into New Fairfield, and then pretty much up to the Housatonic and Naugatuck Valley. We are talking about a decent rain that just has not let go. And again, this goes till about 3:30 in the afternoon. Here's the current radar picture. We've been focusing on western sides of the state all morning long. The eastern side has seen some moderate, even some heavy rain in Windham County, but it is certainly lighter and certainly manageable at this point. If you've been watching this morning, you look outside your window, if you're east of 91, you're going, this is fine, we know. But we're focusing right now on parts of Fairfield County. Again, you could see the yellows and the oranges indicative of some strong rain, steady shower activity coming down at a good clip. Litchfield over through Torrington, New Hartford right now. And again, this activity moving south to north. So if it's quiet for you now in Warren, Kent, Sharon, give it a little time and that will change. Take you over to Tolland County, where we do have Ellington, just north of Ellington, a pretty decent shower coming down. Tolland, it's a little better. Vernon, Rockville, looks like you're almost in the clear. It's gotten a little easier in Manchester. But again, you see some of these embedded cells dumping a decent amount of rain. That's the way it's been since about midnight. That's the way it continues. And so even if you do get half an inch an hour in some of these heavier pockets, it's been going on a long time. That's why we have the flood issues that we have. All right, look at the activity, and you could just see a lot of moisture continuing to be drawn up. I call them train tracks. It's a trough. It's carving right through western Connecticut, and as a result, you can see the line of moisture as it just stays there. It's called training when you have rainfall in the same areas over and over again, and that almost always equates to flooding. Eventually, those train tracks will push off towards the east, and eventually the rain will slow down. Over 2 inches of rain uniformly on the western sides of the state, approaching 3 inches where you see the light blue. And then as you take a look, we'll show you a little closer, show you some impressive rainfall already. Cornwall, Goshen, approaching Canaan and Norfolk. Also Bethel, Newtown. Route 8 westward has been pretty much soggy. And where you see the reds, by the way, and those are, or the purples, I should say, over the border into the Hudson Valley, Westchester County of New York. We're talking Bedford, Scarsdale, White Plains. Some areas already there getting almost 4 inches of rain. There have been reports of almost half a foot of rain already in Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, just inundated with water, a state of emergency in effect down there. So where do we go from here? Well, when all is said and done, we're looking at 1, 2, 3 inches of rain potentially east of 91 westward. It could be 3, 4, 5, which means we're not done. And in certain spots where that training is occurring, when all is said and done, could be about a half a foot of rain. I almost said snow. We know that's not true. It will be eventually, but this is a lot of rain in one fell swoop. Watch as we go through the afternoon. That's trouble. It continues to move off to the north. If you notice by 5 o'clock, now it's starting to spread a little more evenly, at least the more moderate rainfall across the rest of the state. Keep that in mind. Here's 9 o'clock. If you're headed to football games tonight, if they're going on, be mindful. You're going to be drenched in the stands. It's going to be a muddy one. And then into tomorrow morning, we continue the rain. This is a long duration system. We're now into hour 30, 31. And as we look into the afternoon, it finally winds down with much more lighter activity, but it's still there on the eastern side of the state. Sunday, I promise you, will be a lot better. All right, so here's what you need to know before you go outside. Moderate, heavy rain at times. Flood risk is primarily off to the west, but don't slouch on this one. If you're east of 91, rain continues, so plan accordingly tonight. If you're heading out to events, a number of them have been pulled for tonight. They'll be rescheduled Saturday. The rain ends around midday for most, a little longer off the eastern sides of the state, still remaining cloudy, dreary. But here's the good news, it does get sunny and stays sunny starting on Sunday. All right, as always, you can get the latest at Fox 61 Plus. Fox61.com will have this on repeat. If you have the Fox 61 News app, download it. If you don't, you'll get push alerts. You get everything you need to know right there on your smartphone. And of course, Ryan Breton takes over for the afternoon. We'll have a full report on what's going on tonight at 5 and 6, 10 and 11, as long as we need to. That's a look at the forecast. Stay safe. Be careful out there in the water. I'm Matt Scott.